These dark days call for Crimson Knights. So when the sun sets, the Crimson Moon rises.
Crimson Knights, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, Crimson Knights. Hope that you all are doing well. Had a lot of fun last night. We finished up Dark Deception, and we also played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14 online. Finished up one of the patches, Dreams of Ice patch. Made good progress, had a good time. It snowed last night. The Crimson kids. Hold on, I want that song again. Let's run it back. Run it back. The Crimson kids had off school. They had a snow day. But guess who didn't have a snow day? This guy still had to go to work. Full day. So the kids were like, why you have to go to work? They're going to school tomorrow. Welcome, Crimson Knights on YouTube, on Twitch. Welcome. Tonight's gonna be a sub night brought to you by Sabyasachi. And not only did he use MuneRocks in the loyalty store to redeem a sub night, but he actually provided the content as well with a fan fiction about the Crimson Overlord. Yours truly and the Crimson Knights, which is you. Fan fiction written by Sabyasachi about the Crimson Knights. For the Crimson Knights, we'll be reading tonight this new series, Crimson Knights, the Overlord of Mune. Gonna be a good time. Welcome to all the Crimson Knights here. Glad to see you. Welcome to Woods, Leah, Maddie. We got Saby in here, of course. Bree, welcome. How are you all doing? Good to see everybody. Hope y'all are doing well. Saby said, Crimson, can I VC you for the announcements in my speech? Welcome to the Crimson Knights.
13 months. Wow,
Leah!
Let's go. Let's get her down. Let's get her done.
Thank you so much, Leah, for 13 months. That is more than a year as a Crimson Lord. 13 months. Wow, let's go. She says, let's get her done. Let's get her done. Leah, appreciate you, Leah, so much. I mean, really, thank you for all the incredible support. Really helpful, really means a lot. Thank you so much for 13 months as a Crimson Lord. Crimson Knights, can we get some moons in the chat for Leah? We need some moons in the chat for our Crimson Lord. And yes, Saby, we can do a little VC. First, we gotta get a G Fuel flavor to power tonight's stream. I'm looking at the channel permissions in the Discord for who can see it. All right, you should be able to see it now if you've opted into the creative channels, Crimson Knights. It's under creative category. Maddie said Thursday through Sunday, so I'm done for a while with work. Woo! Congratulations, Maddie. Bree said, doing good, might do a Lego set, but I'm still deciding. What Lego set you doing? I love Legos. Yeah, so there's a new channel under the creative category. You should be able to see it if you're a Crimson Knight in the Discord. Maddie said, jumping jacks at only 10? Yeah, so the reason for that is because we reset at the beginning of the year. So now we're counting from the beginning of the year. I've only done 10 jumping jacks so far through the beginning of the year. From the beginning of the year, rather. All right, let me choose a G Fuel flavor here. I'm feeling Tawny Owl Potion. A relatively new flavor. Inspired by The Witcher. Woods, do you still not see it in Discord? You should be able to see it in Discord now, under the creative channel. Creative category, rather. It's a channel under the creative category. You should be able to see it.
MuneRocks redeemed.
Avatar points, huh? We haven't really done the avatars in a while. Maybe I should get those going. I haven't done that on, I haven't actually done that on the single PC stream, so we should try it. Cheers, Crimson Knights. Oh, you know what? I don't have it set up. We're not going to be able to set it up. I'm gonna have to do a whole setup thing to get the avatar stuff going on the on the single PC. The only reason we stopped doing it, Crimson Knights, is because my streaming PC just couldn't handle it anymore. So we'll get it going again. But it's not set up for the new single PC, so we'll get it going. Woods, we'll get it going. It's just not available today at this moment. I don't know. I mean, I can try. Like, let's see. Where is it? What's it actually called? It's called what? Gotta be somewhere in here. Ah. I bet it's under software. There it is. You don't see it on Discord either? All right. If you are a Crimson Knight, you should be able to see the channel. Saby linked to it in general, so you can click that. You may need, maybe you need to restart your Discord. All right, I'm gonna start stream avatars and see if it's set up properly. Let's see if it works. All right, it's not working. I'm sorry, Crimson Knights. Well, I'll have to set up stream avatars later. We'll get it set up for a future stream. It's just not going to be available tonight. All right. Woods is able to find it from Saby's link. Okay. Welcome, Jeremiah. How's it going, sir? Good to see you. All right. Saby, you ready to hop into the VC? Let's get this party started, huh? Okay, hold on. Do Discord. There we go. Hey, Saby, can you hear me?
Hello, Crimson. I can hear loud and clear.
Excellent. How's it going, Sabyasachi?
It's going amazingly well here, Crimson, and thank you very much for this awesome stream tonight. Hope everything is going well for you there.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for redeeming tonight's stream. We're all looking forward to reading and listening to a new series.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So the story is creating the new series is that I read my previous original work, The Crimson Knight Legacy, and thought that yeah, that is good, but I think this is lacking something or someone, and that is the Overlord himself. Oh, my bad. So I read it fully, and where I ended last time, I uh, took it and write it in the reboot or remastered series, like an aftermath type of thing. So the remastered version is the complete remaster, but in a new type of way, in a new world, in a new setting, new characters, but keeping the same vibe in there.
Okay. So it's kind of related to the original series that we read?
Yeah, it's the aftermath of the original series.
Okay, the aftermath. But we never actually fully finished reading that original series, right?
Yeah, it's a remastered version of the original series because I think that original series, it's good, but I think I added like too much or type or those type of stuff, and actually not your main character from the get go.
Gotcha.
That's where I thought that it's very lacking.
Okay. Well, we're definitely looking forward to listening to this new series, The Aftermath. So
Yeah, I'm happy
it
to
should be
share it with
good.
you. Yeah, and don't worry, Crimson, your Overlord character is complete badass, if I were to say.
I trust you. I trust you.
And I will keep that trust to the eternal.
Sounds good, man. Well, yeah, anything else that we should be aware of before we start reading?
Anything else? I would say that uh, for this series, I'm starting off like a new type of thing. So in this remaster, I'm taking slow and steady pace. So at first, it will be like a normal and a lack of the action and those kind of stuff. But when it will go over time, like after 12 or 13 or after episodes, it will to take its pace into action, into more deep dive into story, into building and other type of stuffs. Also, in my series, I will be adding various references from various video games or TV shows. If you want to add
Nice.
your own favorite TV shows or references, feel free to DM me or share it in the Discord. I will happily add it for you.
Okay, awesome. Well, very cool.
Yeah.
Leah said, "Can you guys
in.
hear me on Discord?" I don't think you're not in the. Oh, you wanted to drop in and say hello?
Oh.
I'd be fine if you want to drop in and say hello, Leah. We can do a voice reveal for you. In the voice chat. Okay, so what we're reading tonight will be mostly like kind of getting started, building up, that type of thing.
Yeah.
All right. And how many episodes do we actually have in this channel right now?
For now, it has total 8 episodes, but do not worry. Most of them are below 1,000 words.
All I gotta do, Crimson Knights, is read like 8, 9, 10,000 words tonight, huh?
8, yeah, kind of. But it's better than previous, from 20,000 words to this.
Well, that's true. Yeah. When you put it in perspective like that, absolutely. Oh, man. Okay.
So I will be starting in this way. Tone down into words, but revealing enough to get go the story. Or if you have any questions, any type of um, asking to do, like how this happened, where the character went, and all the stuff, I will be happily answer all of your questions and reveal it at the end of the streams, like a Q&A type of thing.
Okay. Sounds good. Leah, you can jump into the on deck channel and then I can drag you into the live channel. You want to do a quick voice reveal? So you can join on deck and then I'll bring you into the live. While we're waiting for Leah, as Saby just said, Crimson Knights, as we're reading, of course, you can write your reactions, your questions, your thoughts, your comments in the chat. And Saby may respond to some things as we're going, or perhaps we'll respond later at the end once we get through the content that we have prepared for this evening. So before we jump in, we're going to do a fun little quick voice reveal for Leah. I just saw her pop into the channel and then she left. So just pop into a channel, Leah, and then I'll drag you into the live channel.
Find channels, then scroll down way to the voice channels, and then jump one of them. On deck or Crimson Knights, one of them.
Woods is already reading ahead. Don't get too far ahead, Woods.
Woods is excited.
Leah, can you just join like the Crimson Knights channel or gaming or something? Just join any of those voice channels. I just saw you in one for a second.
No spoiler, Rick. Yeah, for you, Crimson, what do you expect from this series, the new series?
I don't know. Like you said, I mean, I guess excited for typical kind of Saby writing style, but hearing more of, just more references to the Crimson Knights, people we know, different references, things like that we'll get and connect with a little bit more. So I'm excited for that. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
I gotcha. And what are your thoughts on your character, and how do you imagine will go?
Dude, I have no idea. I'm just excited to see your interpretation.
All right, we'll be surprised.
All right. Well, Leah, I'm not sure why it's not working. I'm looking at the list of users in the server, and I actually don't even see you in the server, so I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe I'm just not finding you. But anyway, maybe we can figure it out a little bit later. Is this you? No, it just says L. I don't know.
Maybe is it a Discord?
Oh, I've got
type of
streamer mode. All right, let's forget that. Turn that off. Okay, I had streamer mode. I was like, why can I not see any names? But yeah, I'm not seeing Leah in...
There she is in gaming channel.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right. Leah, can you hear us? Oh, she left. Like I say, Leah, for some reason, I don't even see you in the user list here that I'm looking at. Oh, here you are. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're gonna jump into reading, and maybe we can get Leah in later. But I think we're ready to
that
get
sounds good.
rolling. You ready, Crimson Knights? You ready, Saby?
Yeah, I'm happy to be in the chat and see how your thoughts lying in my writing.
All right, sounds good, man.
Alright, I'll see you in chat, Crimson, and
All
we'll
right.
be joining in the VC at the end for Q&A.
See you in there, man. Hope you enjoy.
Alright, thank you, Crimson.
Crimson Knights, can you hear any background music or no? No? Is that any better? All right, we've got Leah apparently. Leah, can you hear me? Looks like you might be muted. All right. I don't know what's going on, Leah. I'm sorry. It looks like you're still muted. All right, Crimson Knights. We are now going to begin a new series by Sabyasachi. Tonight's sub-night again is brought to you by Sabyasachi, and this content is fan fiction by Sabyasachi for none other than the Crimson Knights. This series is entitled Crimson Knights, the Overlord, the Mune fanfic series by the one and only author, Saby J. Williams. That's not his name. But that could be his ghostwriting name or whatever. You know? Here we go. Crimson Land, the Realm of Eternal Blood, Episode 0. It's kind of like a prologue. The Crimson Kingdom stood as a testament to unyielding power, a realm unlike any other in the tapestry of the known world. The land was not green with life as most would expect, but a deep, resplendent crimson. Towering high levels, trees bore blood-red leaves, their gnarled roots drinking from rivers that shimmered like liquid rubies. The air held a faint metallic tang, and the skies, though sometimes blue, would often bleed with hues of scarlet at dusk. This was Crimson Land, a domain both awed and terrifying. At its heart rose Vermilion Keep, a fortress palace of black stone veined with red crimson, its spires piercing the heavens. The keep loomed over the kingdom, a watchful guardian and a dire warning. Within its walls sat the supreme Overlord, who was the unchallenged ruler of this realm, a man whose very name was whispered in reverence and terror. He was called CrimsonMune, the Titan Slayer, the Blood Sovereign, the Eternal Blade. In his prime, he had felled beings of incomprehensible power, titans who once threatened to crush the world beneath their heels. Now he ruled with an iron will, his words as unyielding as the mountains and as cutting as his blade. Ruinfang, forged in the heart of a dying star. CrimsonMune's eyes glowed a deep, hypnotic red, their intensity enough to strike fear into even the bravest of souls. CrimsonMune, the Titan Bane, the Eternal Sovereign, the Shadow of Victory. I mean, seriously, who even comes up with titles like that? Imagine introducing yourself at a medieval mixer. Hi, I'm Bob the Baker or Fixer, and you are? Oh, I'm CrimsonMune, Destroyer of Worlds. Cool, same. Anyways, the Supreme Knights of Crimson Land. CrimsonMune was not alone in his rule, no. By his side stood his Knights of Blood Oath, warriors bound to him by loyalty, power, and blood. Each one was a legend in their own right, their names echoing through the annals of history. Quora the Unyielding, Quora the Indomitable. His armor gleamed like polished obsidian, engraved with runes that pulsed with a faint crimson glow. He was a master tactician, his mind as sharp as the twin blades he wielded. Fierce and unrelenting as he was a storm on the battlefield, his enemies swept away by his wrath. Madison Rourke, shield of the Crimson Throne. Madison, or Maddie to those closest to her, was the kingdom's unbreakable shield. Tall and commanding, she carried a colossal crimson shield that could withstand the mightiest of blows. Her strength was legendary, but it was her heart that made her truly remarkable. Fiercely protective of her comrades and loved ones, Maddie was the embodiment of bravery and composure, her loyalty unmatched. Nyclith, the Veil Breaker. Nyclith or Nicklith? If I say Nicklith, it's gonna sound like I have a lisp. I'm going with Nyclith. Even Nyklith almost sounds like I have a lisp. But Nyklith is a nice blend between the Knights and Nick. So we'll go with Nyklith. Nyklith, the Veil Breaker. Nyklith, enigmatic and silent, was a shadow that moved among men. His dark crimson cloak billowed like smoke, and his eyes, pale silver against his crimson-etched face, spoke of battles fought in the darkest of places. With his twin daggers, he could fell armies before a single alarm was raised. Brynlia, the Crimson Tempest. Brindor, wait, is it Brynlia or Brindor? Was a whirlwind of destruction, her great crimson hammer shattering foes and fortifications alike. Her battle cry could split the air, and her presence on the battlefield was a rallying force for the Crimson Land's armies. Despite her brutal nature, Brindor had a quiet wisdom, a calm that balanced his ferocity. Is this Bree or is this somebody else? Alright, Leah said she got it figured out. So we'll pull you in once I finish this last paragraph before the next section. Alright, Leah? Brynlia Brindor, full name. Okay. Rickian, the death blade of the right hand. Crimson Mune's most trusted knight and his right hand. Rickian was a towering figure clad in armor that seemed to drink the light around him. His great sword, Dreadspire, was a weapon of legend, a blade so sharp it was said to cut through the fabric of reality itself. Sort of. Rickian was unwavering in his loyalty, his every action a reflection of Crimson Mune's will. We might have to change some of the pronouns around here, because I think both Ricky and Bree, IRL at least, go by she, right? I could be wrong, but I believe that is the pronouns they go by. All right, let's take a quick break. After these opening chapters, Leah, are you in the voice channel? You ready for the big voice reveal? My question so far is Vermilion Keep a Pokemon reference? Wood says, is Primal Fear a Dark Deception reference? Leah, jump into one of the voice channels and I'll drag you in with me. Or I'll just do this. Join Crimson Knights with me, Leah. The author says could be. He's not revealing his secrets? Leah!
Hello.
Leah, the big voice reveal. How's it going, Leah?
How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's so wonderful to hear your voice, not just see the text in chat.
It's great to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, you guys always get to hear and see me, but I don't get to always hear and see you, so it's fun when it can go the other way.
Yes, I know. It can definitely do that.
So is there anything you want to share with the Crimson Knights with your own voice?
Well, yeah. Saby, I know you're in here, buddy. I know. Me and Saby have been friends for almost over 2.5 years, maybe 3.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Saby has always been a very kind, loving, gentle person. And
That is absolutely true.
yes.
Though he
And,
does troll me sometimes, so.
Yeah, I can see that. So how was your Christmas besides my toe thing? Oh my god.
Yeah, how are you feeling now? Feeling any better or still lots of pain or what?
Well, it's really weird because I've never felt this it's like a vibration. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like a little vibration that won't go away. And I told Mom about it, and Mom's like, yeah, I can. And she said if it kept bothering me, that she would call the doctors and try to figure out why.
Interesting.
Because it just keeps going boom, boom, boom. And then when they put the shot in,
Yeah.
I think he went into one of my nerves.
Ugh.
And it's causing, and it's still really, really painful. And tomorrow I'm like, okay, I gotta wear a shoe tomorrow. How am I gonna put a shoe on? And Mom's like, well, why don't you just go try to put a shoe on? And so I did, and it's worked, but it is so uncomfortable.
That feels like too soon to be putting on a shoe. Don't you have like a little special boot or something?
No, they didn't give me any boot or anything.
Wow, that's surprising.
They said that
crutches?
I can. No crutches, no nothing. They just, see what's weird about it is that we went in there and we sat in there and we sat and we sat. And I had to go, excuse me, but I had to go to the restroom. There was no ifs or buts. But when they put that lidocaine in me, I nearly got so nauseous. I thought Mom was going to have to go get the doctors because
wow.
I felt really nauseous. I told her, I said, oh my God, I feel so weird. And then all of a sudden, my stomach gets really upset. And I said, well, they got me all the way up in the air where I couldn't even climb off or anything. And I said, Mom, you got to go get them. I need to go to the bathroom. And so she said, okay. So she went and got him, and I went to the restroom, and then I came back, and we waited for another 45 minutes before he even came in. Then he started doing the shot. And when he went in with the shot, I mean, it hurt. It hurt big time. He looked at me, and he said, are you okay? Are you okay? And I looked at him, and I'm like, no, do you see that I'm okay?
I'm not. Aw. That's
And
crazy, Leah.
He's like, well, I'm sorry, but I said, Doc, do you really have to use, when I say 2 big, huge shots, I mean big shots. And the needle was so big, it didn't even go all the way, the needle didn't even go all the way into my foot.
Wow.
And then he went, after he gave me those shots, he walked out for another 45 minutes, and Mom started getting really mad, and I started getting really mad. See, right when we got there, it was like 8 something in the morning, and he's like, well, go ahead and continue taking the, see, I took 500 milligram penicillin twice a day. And those things, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. No, that's all some powerful stuff, man. That can really mess you up.
Yeah, it's messed up my whole entire system, basically, but that's another thing.
Wow.
But anyways, we waited for another 45 minutes, and then the doc goes, okay, comes in. We had people coming in and out. getting me all prepped, getting me all ready and everything. And then I asked the lady, I said, when's the doctor coming back in? And she said, oh, he'll be here in just a few minutes. Don't worry, honey. He'll be here in a few minutes. Then we wait and wait and
Yeah.
wait. And mom
frustrating.
Mom looks at me. I look at her, and she goes, I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated because I'm looking back and forth. My eyes were kind of going back and forth, like, what's going on here? And Mom got up off her seat, and she was looking at me, making sure that I was okay, because she could see that I was real clammy and everything. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go get the doctor. This is not good. You're not feeling good. This is bad.
Yeah.
And so mom goes and talks to the nurse and says, look, my daughter's not feeling good. You guys gave her too much stuff. You guys gave her way too much lidocaine, and she's not feeling good at all. And the doctor comes in and says, are you okay? I said, Doc, do I look like I'm okay? I'm about to throw up.
Aw.
I feel sick.
Well, it's great that your mom was, like, advocating for you and paying attention. So it sounds like you have a wonderful mom, obviously.
Yeah, Mom. I mean, if you only knew, you have no idea how much surgery I've had. And so many.
Yeah.
You have no idea. The stuff I could tell you that I've gone through, the stuff that I went through. Yeah.
Well, you seem like a very strong person, and Saby shared something he wanted me to share with you. He said, Crimson, tell my dearest gem Leah that I hear her and my heart is ever entwined with hers. My prayers follow her, always watching over her. She resides in my thoughts, unwavering and constant as my feelings for her remain eternal.
Aww, love you.
Very
too,
nice
Saby.
words, Saby.
Saby, I love you.
Aww. Well, Leah, here's what I'm thinking. I know that you're hoping to redeem a sub night coming up here soon. So it'd be really fun to have you do another voice chat again when we roll around to your sub night.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah. But thanks so much for jumping in and doing the big reveal. And also, thank you so much for 13 months as a Crimson Lord. I mean, that is really, really super kind of you, Leah. Obviously, I mean, we just love having you around. So
you've always been very kind and generous towards me, and I've always told Saby, I said, look, you know me well enough. Like I said, he's known me 3 years. I only go to the channel. I only go to YouTube channels that I know that I can count on and rely on. I don't go just to any channel. I mean, if they're going to treat me bad and disrespect me and everything else, then no, I won't do that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But no, I mean, we do love and appreciate you, Leah, and,
love you guys.
You certainly do not have to be, I never expect donations or memberships or anything, but it does mean a lot, and, I do really thank you. It's very humbling to me that you've been member on the channel for 13 months. That's crazy. So thank you, Leah.
You're absolutely welcome. And I look forward to hearing what Saby has come
I know.
up with.
All right. Well, thank you for the big voice reveal, Leah. This was fun.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the rest of this as well. So I hope that hope you and the other Crimson Knights enjoy what Saby's written. This is going to be fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll get back to reading, and I'll see you in chat, Leah. But great talking with you and hearing your voice. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It is fun. All right, buddy. Take care.
See you in there.
All right.
All right, Crimson Knights, the big voice reveal from Leah Hyde. the one and only Crimson Lord. That was a lot of fun. I've seen the chat going back and forth about Jeremiah's voice reveal. We can certainly connect, Jeremiah, during your sub night. But yeah, we've heard your voice before because we follow your channel. We've played Fortnite with you. You know, we've done all that kind of stuff. But we can certainly, we do care. We do care about you, Jeremiah. I want you to know that. We do care. But we have heard your voice, you know. But we'd be happy to hear it again, Jeremiah. All right. That was a fun intermission. Let's get back to the Crimson Knights, Rise of the Overlord. Here we go. The Beast of the North, Mune, King of the Bloodborne. Aw, by the way, who misses Dogpool? Is Dogpool here? Dogpool! Pull it together, Crimson. Pull it together. All right, here we go. Beyond the Knights, there was Mune, the Crimson Wolf, a beast of unparalleled majesty and terror, towering over the tallest man, with 3 tails that shimmered like liquid fire. Mune was both protector and executioner. His fur was an iridescent crimson, and his eyes gleamed like molten gold. The howl of the Bloodborne King, I like that, the Bloodborne King, was enough to send enemies fleeing, their courage devoured by primal fear. The Throne of Mune. As the sun set over Crimson Land, casting its eerie glow over the kingdom, the Vermilion Keep's throne room filled with a heavy silence. The room was vast, its walls adorned with tapestries depicting Crimson Mune's conquests. At its center, on a throne carved from the bones of titans and inlaid with crimson gemstones, sat the Overlord himself. Crimson Mune leaned forward slightly, his glowing red eyes scanning the room with a gravity that seemed to pull the air from the space. His knights stood before him, their heads bowed in respect. The weight of his presence was suffocating, and yet it inspired unwavering loyalty. "Power," Crimson Mune began, his voice a deep rumble that seemed to echo infinitely, "is not given. It is taken. It is forged in fire, tempered by blood, and wielded by the relentless." His knights straightened at his words, settled like iron in their hearts. "We are the keepers of this realm, the guardians of its crimson lifeblood. To falter is to invite ruin. To hesitate is to embrace death. And to stand united," his red eyes flared brighter than ever, "is to ensure eternity." The room fell silent once more as the knights knelt, their loyalty unshakable. Above them, Mune's 3 tails swayed ominously, his golden eyes watching over the scene with a quiet menace. The Crimson Kingdom thrived, its beating heart the Overlord who ruled it with a will of unbreakable steel. In the shadows of the Vermilion Keep, as the blood-red moon rose, the world beyond trembled, for the Titan Slayer and his knights stood ready to defend their throne. End of episode. Crimson Mune, Supreme Wrath of the Overlord, Episode 1. The throne room of Vermilion Keep was silent, save for the faint drip of crimson liquid from the prisoner's battered form onto the black stone floor. The light from the blood-red torches danced across the room, casting shadows that seemed alive. Nightcliff, now simply known as Nick, strode forward with a smirk, dragging the limp form of a man behind him. The prisoner whimpered, his face bruised and streaked with crimson dirt, his breast shallow and ragged. Nick reached the center of the throne room and flung the prisoner forward with a casual, almost lazy motion. The man sprawled before Crimson Mune, his trembling frame barely able to lift itself from the cold floor. Nick stepped back, folding his arms, his smirk unwavering as he leaned against a pillar. The Overlord sat upon his throne, a living monument of unyielding power. His glowing red eyes bore into the prisoner's soul, freezing him in place like prey caught in the gaze of a predator. The air grew heavy, oppressive, as if the room itself bent to Crimson Moon's authority. "You dare," Crimson Moon began, his voice a low growl that reverberated through the stone walls, "to betray the Crimson Land? To sully the blood that binds us? Speak." The prisoner gasped, his words tumbling out in stuttered mess. "Please, my lord, I was forced. They made me." "Silence!" The single word cracked through the air like a thunderclap. The man's mouth snapped shut, his eyes wide with terror. Crimson Moon rose from his throne, his towering form casting a shadow that seemed to consume the room. "Do you think me blind to your cowardice? Do you believe your lies will save you from my judgment?" He stepped closer, each word dragging the prisoner deeper into despair. "Weakness disgusts me. Treachery is unforgivable. And you, insect, are both."
Read this message, Crimson.
Woods wants me to read a message in the middle of reading Saby's book? What's Woods got for us? Woods posted a clip? Woods! You can watch it at the end. The prisoner sobbed, his tears mingling with the blood on his face. Crimson Moon knelt, his glowing eyes inches from the man's own. His hand, clad in a gauntlet etched with ancient runes, reached out and gripped the prisoner's skull. The room fell silent save for the prisoner's muffled cries. Slowly, agonizingly, Crimson Moon's grip tightened. Bones groaned under the pressure, the sounds echoing like a death knell. "This," the Overlord said, his voice calm, cold, and final, "is where betrayal leads. To nothingness. To oblivion." With a sickening crack, the man's skull gave way, his life snuffed out in excruciating finality. Crimson Moon let the body fall to the floor, lifeless and broken. He turned, his red eyes scanning his knights, who stood in silent reverence and terror. None of them dared speak. None of them would ever dare betray. A new command. Crimson Moon seated himself once more, his gaze falling upon Madison Rourke, the shield of the Crimson Throne. He gestured, and Maddie stepped forward, her crimson armor gleaming under the torchlight. "Maddie," he commanded, his tone leaving no room for argument. "The kingdom stirs. Whispers of unrest, of anomalies reach my ears. Find the source. Report back. Do not fail me." "Yes, my lord," Maddie said, her voice steady, though her heart thundered in her chest. She bowed deeply and left the throne room, her resolve unshaken, but her mind uneasy. An encounter in the wilds. The red-tinged forests of Crimson Land were eerily quiet as Maddie moved through them. The crimson leaves whispered in the wind, their sound like distant whispers of forgotten souls. Her shield rested on her back, her gauntleted hand brushing against the hilt of her sword. The anomaly had been faint at first, but then a shimmer in the air, a flicker that danced at the edge of perception. She followed it deeper into the forest, her sharp eyes scanning for danger. It led her to a small clearing, the crimson grass giving way to patches of ordinary green. In the center knelt a man, his back to her. He was dressed simply in brown, his hands gently tending to a patch of flowers that bloomed in defiance of the land's crimson hue. Maddie stepped forward, her armor clinking softly. The man froze but did not turn around. "You've wandered far from safety," Maddie called, her voice firm but not unkind. The man stood slowly, brushing dirt from his hands. He turned, revealing a face that was ordinary, yet somehow out of place in this realm of blood and power. His eyes were calm, his expression unassuming. "I could say the same to you," he replied with a small smile, his voice as unremarkable as his appearance. Maddie's hand instinctively rested on her sword. Who are you? And what are you doing here? The man looked at the flowers, then back at her. Just a traveler, tending to what still grows even here. There was something in his gaze, an unsettling calmness, a quiet strength that made Maddie hesitate. For the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of unease. Be careful, traveler, she said, her tone warning. This is no place for the unwary. The man smiled faintly, his eyes holding hers. Nor it is a place for the unkind. Maddie's grip on her sword tightened as the air seemed to grow heavier. The anomaly she had followed wasn't gone. It lingered around this man, unseen, but palpable. And in that moment, she realized this encounter was no accident. There's more to the story than that's showing. I mean, of course there would be. CrimsonMune, The Return of Lost Knight, Episode 3. Wood said the acting's a strong 2 out of 10. Okay, Woods. All right. We'll give you an episode to read and see how you do, Woods. Dude, why is CrimsonMune like... Yeah, why is CrimsonMune like a brutal dictator? He just crushed somebody's skull with his bare hand? I felt like the characters in the original were like more noble, you know what I mean? Not that CrimsonMune himself ever necessarily appeared. But yeah, CrimsonMune seems like somebody I do not want to know. I do not want to meet CrimsonMune, at least in his current form here. Super scary, super intimidating, super brutal. Thank you, Bree. She said, honestly, I think the acting's a great 10 out of 10. Saby said, not a dictator, he's an overlord. Saby said, trust me here, slow and steady. All right. I mean, we're going with whatever, you know, that's fine. But right now, pretty scary, all right? All right, CrimsonMune, The Return of Lost Knight, Episode 3. The forest of Crimson Land was bathed in the eerie light of CrimsonMune, the blood-red moon that hung high in the sky. Madison Rourke stood tall in her crimson armor, her eyes scanning the clearing for any sign of the anomaly she'd been tracking. Her shield rested against her back, and her gauntleted hand gripped the hilt of her sword, ready for whatever danger awaited her. Beside her, Fenry Moon, the Crimson Wolf of the North, prowled silently, his 3 tails swaying like crimson flames. Then, a figure stepped out from the shadows of the forest. Clad in silver and blue armor etched with faint golden filigree, Sabine Clayton emerged with a disarming smile plastered across his face. His auburn hair was slightly tousled, and his emerald green eyes sparkled with mischief. The crest of Stormhold, a neighboring kingdom known for its stormy coasts and fierce knights, was emblazoned across his chestplate. Madison Rourke, he greeted, his voice warm and tinged with a trademark cheeky charm. He swept into an exaggerated bow, one hand resting on the hilt of his sword, while the other gestured dramatically to the sky. The shield of the Crimson Throne herself. Truly, the gods have blessed me this day with your presence. Maddie's eyes narrowed. Sabine Clayton, she said, her tone sharp as steel. What are you doing here? Sabine straightened, his grin unfaltering. Ah, you wound me, Maddie. No, welcome back, Sabine. It's been so long. No, how have you been, my dear old friend? He placed a hand over his heart, feigning injury. After all we've been through together, I'm hurt. Maddie stepped closer, her armored boots crunching against the crimson grass. Her glare was fierce, her voice low and dangerous. I asked you a question, Sabine. Answer it, now. Before he could respond, Fenry Moon let out a low, rumbling laugh. The massive wolf stepped forward, his molten gold eyes gleaming with amusement. Still as insufferable as ever, aren't you, Sabine? Your charm is about as effective as a dull blade. Sabine gasped, feigning shock. Fenry Moon! I thought we were friends! The wolf bared his teeth in what could only be described as a grin. Friends don't let friends humiliate themselves by flirting with women who can break them in half. Maddie crossed her arms, her glare softening just enough to let the corner of her mouth twitch upward. He's not wrong. Sabine raised a finger as if to retort, but before he could say anything, Maddie's gauntleted hand swung up and landed squarely on his helmeted head with a resounding bonk. The blow echoed through the clearing, and Sabine staggered backward, clutching his head. Ow! Maddie, what was that for? He whined, his voice muffled slightly by his helmet. For being an idiot, Maddie said flatly, lowering her hand. Fenry Moon barked out a laugh, his tail swaying with mirth. And here I thought your greatest skill was dodging blows, Sabine. Seems even that's failed you. Sabine pouted, rubbing the top of his helmet. You're both cruel, you know that? I'll have you know, women adore me. I've received plenty of affection in my time. Fenry Moon's laugh grew louder, his massive frame shaking with amusement. Oh yes, I'm sure. And how many of those women slapped you before or after you opened your mouth? Sabine opened his mouth to protest, but Maddie cut him off with a smirk. You walked right into that one, Sabine. Face it, you've been roasted by a wolf. The knight groaned dramatically, throwing his arms into the air. I leave Stormhold on a noble quest, return to Crimson Land, and this is the thanks I get? Abuse and mockery? Maddie's smirk vanished, her expression hardening once more. Why are you here, Sabine? This isn't a reunion. If you're back in the Crimson Land, you'd better have a damn good reason. Sabine's grin faded, and he straightened, his voice growing serious. I do. I've come to report directly to the Overlord. Take me to him. At the Vermilion Keep. The journey back to Vermilion Keep was tense. Fenry Moon kept his molten gold eyes on Sabine the entire time, his growls low and constant, though tinged with an almost playful menace. Maddie, however, was silent, her expression unreadable as they entered the keep's towering blackstone gates. The throne room was just as imposing as ever. Crimson Moon sat upon his throne, his glowing red eyes fixed on the trio as they entered. The air grew heavier, the weight of his presence pressing down on them. Maddie and Fenry Moon knelt immediately, their heads bowed. Sabine hesitated for a moment before following suit, his armor clinking softly as he lowered himself to one knee. Rise, Crimson Moon commanded, his voice a deep rumble that echoed through the chamber. They obeyed, and the Overlord's piercing gaze settled on Sabine. You, Sabine Clayton of Stormhold, why do you stand before me? Sabine met the Overlord's gaze, his emerald green eyes steady. I've returned to Crimson Land to prove my worth, my lord, to prove that I am no longer the man who left. I seek your judgment and your trust. Crimson Moon's eyes narrowed, the glow intensifying. You abandoned your comrades. You abandoned your duty. And now you seek absolution? Yes, my lord, Sabine said, his voice firm. I left because I was weak. I see that now. But I've changed. I've trained, fought, bled. I've become stronger. I'm here to serve you, to prove that I am worthy of standing in your presence. The Overlord was silent for a long moment, his gaze unyielding. Strength is not merely physical, Sabine Clayton. It is not something you proclaim. It is something you demonstrate. Do you understand this? I do, my lord, Sabine said, lowering his head. Crimson Moon leaned forward slightly, his red eyes glowing brighter. You have much to prove, knight. To me, to your comrades, and to yourself. Fail, and you will not leave this land alive. Sabine swallowed hard, but he nodded. I understand, my lord. Maddie watched the exchange with crossed arms, her expression a mix of skepticism and restrained anger. As the Overlord dismissed them, she turned and strode out of the throne room without a word, Fenry Moon following close behind. Sabine lingered for a moment, glancing back at the throne before stepping out into the crimson-tinged night. The skies above were dark, the blood-red moon casting its glow across the land. Sabine stood outside the keep, his shoulders heavy with the weight of his mission. From the shadows, Maddie's voice cut through the silence. "Don't think this changes anything, Sabine." He turned to see her leaning against a pillar, her eyes cold. "Got a long way to go before you can earn back anyone's trust, especially mine." Sabine nodded, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "I'll prove it to you, Maddie, no matter how long it takes." She scoffed and turned to leave, her armor glinting in the crimson light. "Don't make promises you can't keep." As she walked away, Sabine looked up at CrimsonMune, his emerald eyes reflecting the moon's glow. "I will keep this one," he whispered to himself, his voice steady. End of episode. Interesting, interesting. All right, I'm liking this. I'm liking this, though. I'm with it. How's it going out there, Crimson Knights? Woods believes that CrimsonMune seems evil in this series. The signs are certainly pointing that way, that's for sure. Am I about to cry? Latrice, no! But how's it going, Latrice? I don't know, sometimes my nose gets like real itchy. Leah says, "I'm enjoying it, but I don't like the part where CrimsonMune is evil." Yeah, I'm hoping there's some redemption for CrimsonMune, you know? Otherwise, Saby will just be like, "Yeah, so CrimsonMune, evil, terrible guy. You don't want to know him. You don't want to meet him. Nobody likes him." Evil Crimson equals good Crimson? Latrice said, "It's going good, but for a second I thought you were about to cry." I'm not about to cry! It keeps removing your chat, Woods? Cursing or something, bruh? Saby said, "Crimson, read here. The reveal is about to be a greatest story for CrimsonMune related to his past." Bree says, "This is getting interesting. Honestly, really liking this so far." All right, okay. Overall, people are with it. People are with it. All right, let's keep going, Crimson Knights. Leah said, "I hope Maddie gives him another chance because everybody deserves a second chance." By the way, obviously this is just like a made-up story that is just trying to, you know, bring in Crimson Knights as characters and things like that. So, don't read too much into anything. Latrice said, "I think the stream bots have favorites, Zach." The stream bots know how much Woods is always hating and trolling on me. They're trying to, you know, put him in check. I don't know, Woods. Maybe you need to close the window or the app or whatever and open it back up. Maybe something's glitching out with your connection or your app or something. I don't know. Though, what you're writing right now is coming through, so I don't know. I don't know. To training and roasts. Okay, I guess this is why Saby was asking us so much about roasts last night. Episode 4. The barracks of Vermilion Keep were a stark contrast to the grandeur of the throne room. Though the walls were still blackstone veined with crimson, the air was filled with the scent of iron, sweat, and lingering embers from the practice grounds outside. Sabine Clayton snored loudly, sprawled across his cot with one leg dangling off the side. His armor was in a haphazard pile at the foot of the bed, and his blanket was half on the floor. The door to the barracks slammed open, and Madison Rourke stormed in, her crimson armor gleaming. She immediately regretted it. The sound of Sabine's snoring hit her like a battering ram. "Gods above, save me from this snoring beast," she muttered, pinching the bridge of her nose. How does someone sleep like that and not wake themselves up? "Wake up, you idiot," Maddie's sharp voice cut through the peaceful oblivion of his slumber. But of course Sabine only grunted and turned over, pulling the blanket over his head. "I said, wake up!" Maddie's patience snapped, and her gauntleted hand reached out, grabbing the edge of the cot and shaking it with multiple motions. But still nothing. "Perhaps she doesn't. Perhaps he doesn't," rumbled Fenry Moon, the Crimson Wolf of the North, from his spot in the corner of the room. His molten gold eyes gleamed with amusement. "Perhaps he died in his sleep, and this is his spirit's pitiful attempt to haunt us." Maddie smirked. "If only we were that lucky." Fenry Moon grinned, his jagged teeth glinting. "I've seen orcs with better sleep habits. Truly a marvel of nature." Maddie strode over to Sabine's cot, her patience hanging by a thread. "Sabine!" she barked. Nothing. She tried again, louder. "Sabine!" Still nothing. Fenry Moon chuckled, his tail swishing lazily. Perhaps he's enchanted, or maybe he's just this useless naturally. "That does it," Maddie growled. She grabbed the edge of the cot and flipped it with all her strength. Sabine hit the floor with a loud thud, his blanket wrapping around him like a cocoon. "What in the name of the Seven Kingdoms?" he yelled, flailing like a fish out of water. "Wake up, you idiot," Maddie snapped, crossing her arms. Sabine groaned, rubbing his head as he tried to sit up. "Was flipping my bed really necessary?" "Yes," Maddie said flatly. "Absolutely," Fenry Moon added, his deep voice dripping with amusement, "and frankly, it was long overdue." Sabine glared at the wolf. "You're supposed to be on my side." "On your side?" Fenry Moon barked a laugh. "I'd sooner align myself with a chicken than you. At least they wouldn't snore loud enough to wake the dead." "Fen," Sabine whined, finally freeing himself from the blanket. Maddie rolled her eyes. "Get dressed. Cora's waiting for you at the training grounds." At the mention of Cora, Sabine froze. "Cora? He's leading training today?" "Yes," Maddie said, smirking as she watched the color drain from Sabine's face. Fenry Moon let out a mock gasp. "Oh no, not the terrifying, merciless Knight Commander Cora. However, let's see, will you survive his sharp, brutal tongue and sharper swords?" "Not helping," Sabine muttered, fumbling with his armor. "Wasn't meant to," the wolf replied. "Honestly, how you became a knight is one of the life's greatest mysteries. Did you charm your way into the role, or did someone just feel sorry for you?" Sabine scowled as he strapped on his breastplate. "I earned my place, thank you very much." Fenry Moon tilted his massive head, his golden eyes gleaming. "You earned it? What, by falling on your sword and making everyone pity you?" Sabine groaned. "Can you not?" "No," Fenry Moon said simply. The training grounds. By the time they arrived at the training grounds, Sabine was already regretting his existence. The arena was alive with the clang of swords and the barked orders of Cora the Unyielding, who stood at the center like a storm ready to strike. His black armor gleamed under the crimson sun, and his twin swords rested against his back. "Late," Cora said sharply as Sabine approached. His piercing gaze felt like it could cut through steel. "Sorry, sir," Sabine said, bowing his head. "Sorry?" Cora's tone was as sharp as his blades. "Do you think the enemy waits for your apologies, Sabine Clayton? Do you think they'll give you a reprieve because you can't manage to show up on time?" Fenry Moon, lounging at the edge of the arena, let out a low chuckle. Probably thinks they'll surrender to his charm. Poor fool doesn't realize his charm is about as effective as wet parchment. Korra's gaze flicked to the wolf. Fenrir Moon, I don't recall inviting you to critique my recruits. I'm merely providing commentary, Fenrir Moon replied smoothly. Someone has to keep things interesting. Korra sighed and turned back to Sabine. Pick up a sword. Let's see if you're as clumsy today as you were yesterday. The training session began, and it quickly became apparent that Sabine was, in fact, still as clumsy as ever. His strikes were too wide, his footwork unsteady, and his attempts to block were met with Korra's exasperated sighs. Sabine, Korra said, stepping in to correct his form, you're holding the sword like it's a loaf of bread. Do you plan to fight your enemies or feed them? From the sidelines, Fenrir Moon howled with laughter. Oh, that's a good one. Someone should write that down. Focus, Clayton, Korra snapped, ignoring the wolf. Swing again. Sabine tried, but his strike was too slow, and Korra parried it effortlessly. Pathetic, Korra said bluntly. You swing like an old man fighting off a swarm of bees. Fenrir Moon chimed in. I'd say the bees might win. Maddie, watching from the sidelines, covered her mouth to stifle a laugh. By the end of the session, Sabine was drenched in sweat, his armor dented in several places. He collapsed onto the ground with a groan. I think I'm dying, he panted. You think wrong, Korra said, standing over him. Death would be too kind for someone with your lack of discipline. Fenrir Moon patted over, his molten eyes gleaming. Perhaps we should call it a day. Can't have him embarrassing himself more than he already has, Korra sighed. You're dismissed, Clayton. Go clean yourself up before you ruin the training grounds with your stench. After the training. As the sun began to set, casting long crimson shadows across the keep, Maddie and Sabine walked back to the barracks. Fenrir Moon padded alongside them, his golden eyes still sparkling with amusement from the day's events. Sabine glanced at Maddie, his cheeky grin replaced by something softer. You know, Maddie, you're the reason I'm here. She looked at him, her brow furrowed. What are you talking about? When I left Stormhold, I was lost, weak, but I kept thinking about you, he said, his voice steady. You've always been my anchor, Maddie, the one thing that kept me steady, even when I felt like I was sinking. Maddie stopped walking, her eyes widening for a brief moment before narrowing. Don't try to sweet-talk me, Sabine. I'm not, he said, raising his hands in mock surrender. I'm just saying what's true. You're strong, Maddie, stronger than anyone I've ever known. And if I can stand beside you, even for a moment, then maybe I'm not as weak as I think I am. She stared at him, her expression unreadable, before shaking her head. You're still an idiot. Idiot with good taste? Sabine quipped, his grin returning. Maddie rolled her eyes and strode ahead, muttering under her breath. Fairy Moon watched her go, then looked back at Sabine. You're lucky she didn't bonk you again, the wolf said, though I wouldn't blame her. You're hopeless. Sabine chuckled, looking up at the crimson moon. Maybe, but at least I'm persistent. End of episode. Happy lurking woods, enjoy. Pretty good, Saby. I liked the, I liked the roasts. I think you did a good job with them, man. Some pretty good ones. That was a nice, funny scene. I liked it. That was a good scene. Welcome back, Latrice. All right, let's keep going, Crimson Knights. I think we still got a good bit to read, so let's keep it going. The Weight of Emotions, Episode 5. The Crimson Forest buzzed with life, the blood-red leaves rustling softly in the breeze. Sabine Clayton walked beside Fenrir Moon, the Crimson Wolf of the North, his armor clinking lightly with each step. Though the forest's eerie beauty was mesmerizing, Sabine couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. You feel that? He asked, glancing at Fenry Moon. The massive wolf's molten gold eyes narrowed. Yes, trouble. Trouble. The faint smell of smoke reached them first, followed by the distant sound of shouting. Quickening their pace, the pair emerged into a clearing where a small group of bandits had cornered a handful of villagers. The bandits were armed with crude weapons, their sneering faces painted with malice. Bandits, Sabine muttered, drawing his sword. All right, Fen, let's... Before he could finish, Fenry Moon was already moving, a blur of crimson and gold. Wait, Fen, teamwork! Sabine called after him, but the wolf ignored him entirely. What followed was a symphony of chaos and hilarity. Fenry Moon pounced on the first bandit, his massive frame knocking the man flat. With a low growl, he swatted another with his paw, sending the hapless brigand flying into a tree. The remaining bandits tried to run, but Fen's three tails whipped out like crimson whips. Tongue twister, tripping them one by one. One particularly brave, or foolish, bandit swung his sword at the wolf. Only for Fenry Moon to casually catch the blade in his jaws. He bit down with a crunch, the weapon snapping like a twig. You're embarrassing yourselves, Fen said, his deep voice rumbling as he stood over the cowering bandits. Run, before I decide your dinner. The bandits didn't need to be told twice. They scrambled to their feet and fled, screaming incoherent apologies as they disappeared into the forest. The villagers, wide-eyed and trembling, stared at Fenry Moon. He turned his golden gaze on them, his growl softening. You're safe now. Go home. They didn't need further encouragement, murmuring their thanks before hurrying away. Sabine sheathed his sword and walked over to Fenry Moon, a big grin on his face. Well, I guess you didn't need me after all. I rarely do, Fen replied smugly, licking his paw. Sabine chuckled and stepped closer, patting the wolf on his rear end like one might do to a horse. Good boy. Fenry Moon froze mid-lick, his ears twitching. Slowly, he turned his head, fixing Sabine with a look that could melt steel. Did you just... pat my rear? Fen's voice was dangerously calm. Sabine blinked, realizing his mistake. It was a compliment? The wolf's eyes narrowed. Do I look like a common mutt to you, Sabine Clayton? No, but before Sabine could finish, Fen's massive jaw snapped at the air near his rear. Not hard enough to hurt, but close enough to send Sabine yelping and jumping 3 feet in the air. Hey! Sabine shouted, clutching his backside. What was that for? For treating me like a farm animal, Fen growled, though his tail swished in amusement. Pat me like that again, and I'll show you why bandits fear me. Sabine pouted. I was just trying to be nice. Try harder, Fen said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. A moment of reflection. After the bandit incident, the pair found themselves resting by a small brook. The crimson trees towered overhead, their leaves filtering the light into warm, soft hues. Fenry Moon lay sprawled on the grass, his three tails lazily swaying as Sabine sat beside him. You know, Sabine said, leaning back against a tree, you're amazing back there. Fen let out a low rumble of acknowledgement. I always am. Sabine laughed and reached out, scratching behind the wolf's ears. Don't do that either, dude! You know, you've been like this since we were kids, always the big, scary protector. Fen closed his eyes, leaning into the scratches. And you've always been the reckless one, running headfirst into trouble. Guilty as charged, Sabine admitted, a warm smile spreading across his face. As he continued to pet Fenry Moon, Sabine's expression softened. Memories of their childhood flooded his mind. How Fen had always been there, saving him from the bullies, guiding him from the forest, and even standing between him and death more times than he could count. Without thinking, Sabine leaned down and pressed a gentle kiss to the top of Fen's head. Thank you, he murmured, his voice thick with emotion, for always being there for me, for saving me. I don't say it enough, but I love you, Fen. The wolf's golden eyes opened slowly, and for once, there was no sarcasm or teasing in his gaze. He shifted, raising one massive paw and placing it gently on Sabine's palm. His molten eyes soften, and he nuzzled his snout into Sabine's hand. You're my pack, Sabine, Fen said quietly, his voice carrying a rare tenderness. I'll always protect you. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Your family. Sabine's throat tightened and he nodded, his fingers brushing over Fen's fur. You've always been my pillar, you know that. Even when I was too stupid to say it, too scared to let it out. Fen chuckled softly. Oh, I know. I just like hearing you admit it. So, let me get this straight. He didn't want to be patted on the rear, but he's fine being scratched behind the ear and kissed on the forehead? I don't think Dogpool would be down for any of that. Sabine rolled his eyes, but couldn't stop the smile that spread across his face. The two sat together in comfortable silence, the brook babbling softly beside them, and the crimson forest swaying gently in the breeze. For a brief moment, the weight of the world faded, leaving only the unbreakable bond between a knight and his wolf. End of episode. Alright, that was a funny one. Alright, Crimson Knights, I want to take a quick little break, give my voice a little bit of a rest, and also just grab something to munch on. So now's a good time to take a bathroom break, grab a drink, grab a snack. I'll be back in one moment with a snack of my own, and then we'll keep on continuing with this new series brought to us by Sabyasachi, aka Tom Cruise over on Twitch, our beloved Moon Knight, Crimson Knight, Moon Mod. BRB, Crimson Knights. I'm back, Crimson Knights. Decided to go with some cookies and milk. Welcome back, Leah. Latrice is suggesting to self-publish. I can't tell if it's raining right now. All right, so I've got some birthday cake Oreos and a nice glass of milk. Just taking a little snack break, just trying to give my voice a little bit of a rest. For a second. I'm enjoying this, though. This is good. I'm honestly really glad that Saby redeemed another reading stream, because I was thinking about it. I was like, man, we haven't done a reading stream in a while. I honestly was kind of missing it, so I'm glad that we're doing another one. And Crimson Knights, thank you for being here on YouTube and on Twitch. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for being subscribed, joined, followed on the channel, on either channel or both. I know it's not healthy to be eating cookies and milk at like 10 p.m. Whatever. It's good though. Oh, Leah, are you thinking about doing another reading stream? Saby wants ice cream. I do love ice cream. The problem with Oreos is it's like, you know, you pretty much got to eat them by the sleeve. You don't eat one or two Oreos, you eat like sleeves of Oreos. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, Leah, that your character will come in next time. I got you. I see what you're saying. Maddie said, to some of your combinations, that's normal. But see, you guys work out. You're very active, you know, playing all kinds of sports and stuff. You're burning all sorts of calories. I'm not as active these days, you know? I don't have the same metabolism I used to have. All right. Thanks for allowing me to take a little break, Crimson Knights. I love reading streams. The only problem is that, you know, reading for an entire stream is basically just non-stop talking, like literally just talking constantly for the entire stream, and eventually, like, my throat starts to hurt a little bit. Because I have to talk a lot during the day, too, so... it's just a lot. It's good to take a little break, but here we go. Maddie said, hot sauce on some pancakes with honeycomb on top? Hot sauce on pancakes. I would say I've probably only tried that accidentally. At some point, you know what I mean? All right. You've learned that metabolism changes as you get older? Yeah. No, my metabolism has definitely slowed down a bit. I'm still a thin person. I'm still relatively thin, but I gotta be more careful. The other problem is, like, when you get older, you put pounds on, it's harder to take a sip of It's harder to take them off. You know what I mean? It's harder to lose those pounds once you got them when you're older. Cheers, Crimson Knights. Thank you, Saby. Also, what is the content that Woods shared? Okay. This is an episode from Arcane. Oh, shoot. You guys can't hear it. All right, let's jump back in. The Upcoming of Grim Reaper, Episode 6. The Crimson Forest grew darker as Sabine, Clayton, and Fenry Moon ventured deeper, the trees twisting into grotesque shapes, their blood-red leaves trembling as if in fear. The air was heavy, oppressive, and each step felt like a descent into something unnatural. "Do you feel that?" Sabine asked, his voice a hushed whisper. Fenry Moon's molten gold eyes narrowed, his ears flat against his head. Yes, something ancient. Wrong. Their hearts pounded like war drums, the oppressive energy pressing down on them like physical weight. Sabine instinctively gripped Fen's fur, pulling the wolf closer. Despite Fenry Moon's imposing size and strength, Sabine's protective instinct flared. "Stay close, Fen," Sabine muttered, his grip tightening as his other hand rested on the hilt of his blade. And then it came. Out of nowhere, an unseen force slammed into them with the ferocity of a hurricane. Both man and wolf were hurled back like rag dolls, crashing through trees that splintered on impact. They hit the ground hard, the earth trembling beneath them. Sabine groaned as he pushed himself up, his body aching. Fenrir Moon staggered to his feet, growling low as his golden eyes scanned the clearing. Standing before them was something out of a nightmare. The figure was massive, clad in blackened armor that seemed to absorb the crimson light around it. Its six burning, otherworldly eyes glowed with a malevolent red, staring directly at them. In its hands, it held a jagged, obsidian blade that pulsed with dark energy. The very ground beneath its feet seemed to wither and die. There we go! The Hexademon Blade, the Slayer of Mune, the Almighty Slayer. I feel like we need a more intense music here. Fenrir Moon's growl deepened, his fur bristling. You shouldn't exist, he snarled, his voice trembling with a mixture of fury and disbelief. The Slayer didn't respond. It merely tilted its head, its six eyes unblinking as it regarded them like insects beneath its gaze. Fenrir Moon, unwilling to back down, lunged forward, his three tails trailing like crimson streaks of fire. He aimed for the Slayer's throat, his jaw snapping with deadly precision. But the Slayer was faster. With a casual motion, it caught Fenrir Moon mid-air, its massive hand closing around the wolf's neck. Fenrir Moon snarled and thrashed, his claws raking against the Slayer's arm, but it didn't even flinch. You dare? The Crimson said, its voice a guttural echo that reverberated through the forest. Before Sabine could react, the Slayer slammed Fenrir Moon into the ground with bone-crushing force. The wolf let out a pained yelp as the impact cracked the earth beneath him. It lifted Fenrir Moon again, slamming him down a second time, then a third, each strike sending shockwaves through the clearing. Blood sprayed from Fen's mouth, his once powerful frame now limp in the Slayer's grasp. Stop! Sabine screamed, drawing his sword. The Slayer turned its six eyes toward him, its grip loosening just enough for Fenrir Moon to slump to the ground. The wolf's body was broken, his breast shallow as blood pooled beneath him. Sabine ran to him, catching Fen before he could hit the ground fully. Fen, Sabine whispered, his voice shaking, stay with me. The Slayer stepped closer, its towering form casting an immense shadow over them. Rage boiled inside Sabine. He gently laid Fen down and stood, drawing his sword with trembling hands. You'll pay for this, he growled, his voice thick with emotion. Fueled by anger and desperation, Sabine charged. It was over in an instant. The Slayer moved faster than Sabine could register. In a single, brutal motion, the jagged obsidian blade sliced through Sabine's right arm, severing it at the shoulder. Sabine screamed, the sound raw and agonizing as he fell to his knees. Blood poured from the stump where his arm had been, staining the crimson grass beneath him. Staining it crimson? The Slayer wasn't done. It plunged its blade into Sabine's shoulder, the jagged weapon tearing through the muscle and bone. Searing pain erupted through his body, and he cried out again, tears streaming down his face as he clutched at the blade with his remaining hand. Fenrir Moon, lying motionless a few feet away, watched in horror. His golden eyes widened as memories flashed through his mind of the boy he had protected for so long, the boy who had grown into the man now sacrificing himself to save him. Saby, Fen whimpered, his voice weakened. Sabine turned his head toward the wolf, his face pale and drenched in sweat. Run, he rasped. Fenrir Moon froze. How's he gonna run? His body's broken. Go, Sabine said, his voice trembling but resolute. Save yourself, Fen, please. The wolf's heart shattered. All this time, he had been the protector. It was his purpose, his duty. And now, as he lay broken and helpless, his companion, the one he had sworn to shield, was telling him to leave. Tears welled in Fenrir Mune's molten eyes as he struggled to move, his body screaming in protest. I can't, he whispered. You have to, Sabine said, his voice breaking. You're all I have left, Fen. Please, live. Saby just said in chat, my apologies, I forgot to give a heads up. It's gonna get brutal. Yeah, just a little bit, dude. This just got real brutal. Fenrir Mune's breath hitched as he felt the weight of Sabine's words. Slowly, he dragged himself closer, ignoring the pain that racked his body. He rested his massive paw on Sabine's remaining hand, his golden eyes locking with Sabine's emerald ones. No, Fen said softly, his voice trembling with emotion. I'm not leaving you. He nuzzled his bloody snoot into Sabine's palm, his tears mingling with the crimson grass. You've always been my family, Sabine, my pack, and a wolf never abandons his pack. Sabine's vision blurred as he choked back a sob. Then, the Slayer watched, its 6 eyes unblinking, its blade still embedded in Sabine's shoulder. Oh my gosh! It made no move to interrupt the moment, as if savoring the despair before it. Fenrir Mune closed his eyes, his body trembling as he gathered what strength he had left. He wouldn't let this end here, not like this. Not while his pack still needed him. End of episode. Jeez, dude! Somebody's arm just got sliced off, man! Another guy got broken in half! That, like... that went from 0 to 100 real quick, dude. Sheesh. Kids, cover your ears. Latrice is like, no problem. Oh, she was talking to Saby, thanking her. I gotcha. Like, no problem. I love brutality. The Unbreakable Bond, Episode 7. The Crimson Forest trembled under the weight of despair. Fenrir Mune, bloodied and broken, stood on shaky legs as he watched Sabine Clayton collapse to the ground, his lifeless form leaking rivers of crimson into the soil. Towering figure of the Hexademon Blade, the Slayer of Mune, loomed above them, its 6 burning eyes a cold mockery of judgment. The wolf wasn't done. With a desperate snarl, Fen launched himself at the Slayer, his massive form hurtling through the air like a streak of crimson fire. He aimed for the demon's chest, hoping to pierce the armor with his claws. But the Slayer moved with inhuman precision, its obsidian fist driving into Fen's stomach with a bone-shattering force. The impact sent Fen crashing to the ground, his breath caught in his throat. His ribs cracked, and a single tear escaped his golden eye as a soft, involuntary whimper escaped his lips. The sound broke through the eerie silence like a dagger through the heart. The sight of Fen in pain ignited something primal in Sabine. I thought that it was his lifeless body. He's still alive? How is he still alive? Through the haze of agony, his remaining arm trembling with fury, he gripped the hilt of his sword and staggered to his feet. No more, Sabine roared, his voice raw with anger and desperation. The Hexademon Blade tilted its head, watching as Sabine's rage pushed him beyond his limits. With a powerful swing, Sabine shattered the Slayer's jagged blade into shards of blackened steel. Fueled by pure adrenaline, he lunged forward, and his own blade aimed at the demon's heart. But the Slayer was faster. In a single fluid motion, it severed Sabine's remaining arm. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now Sabine has no arms! The knight collapsed to his knees, his anguished scream echoing through the forest. Blood poured from his shoulders, pooling beneath him as his vision blurred. Fenrir Moon's heart shattered. He staggered forward, his broken body screaming in protest, but he couldn't reach his companion in time. "Sabine," Fen whimpered, his golden eyes wide with horror. No. No. The impossibility of human being. Sabine's body slumped forward, his head hanging low. For a moment, all was still. The Slayer stood over him, its 6 eyes glowing with triumph. Then, Sabine moved. Fen froze, his breath hitching as he saw Sabine's head lift. His eyes, once vibrant emerald, were now a dull, lifeless gray. His body moved with unnatural precision, his steps unsteady yet purposeful. "Sabine?" Fen whispered, his voice trembling. Without a word, Sabine stumbled toward Fen, his jaw clenched, and with his teeth, he gripped the scruff of Fen's neck, the same way a mother wolf would carry her cub. Fen's golden eyes widened in disbelief. What are you doing?" Sabine began dragging Fen away, his body trembling with every step. Blood poured from his wounds, staining the forest floor, but he didn't stop. "Sabine, stop!" Fen begged, his voice breaking. "You'll kill yourself. Please, stop!" The knight's movements were mechanical, his body pushed beyond its natural limits. Fen suddenly understood. Adrenaline. The human body, even unconscious, could activate reserves of strength when protecting someone it loved. Sabine's love for Fen, his need to save him, had pushed him past the brink of survival. But it was killing him. Tears streamed down Fenrir Moon's face as he watched his companion fight against death itself. "Sabine, please," he sobbed. "You don't have to do this. I'll fight. I'll protect you. Just please stop hurting yourself." Sabine didn't respond. His body was running on sheer instinct, his mind long gone. And then, finally, his legs gave out. Fen felt Sabine's teeth release his scruff as the knight collapsed to the ground, unmoving. The wolf scrambled to his side, ignoring his own pain as he nuzzled Sabine's lifeless face. "Don't leave me," Fen whispered, his voice trembling. "Please, don't leave me." The final threat. The ground rumbled as the hexademon blade stepped closer, its 6 eyes glowing with malice. It raised its massive hand, dark energy swirling around its claws. Fen placed himself over Sabine's body, his broken frame trembling but resolute. "You won't touch him," he growled, baring his bloody teeth. "I won't let you." The Slayer paused, its clawed hand hovering midair. Fen's golden eyes filled with tears as memories flooded his mind. Memories of Sabine's laughter, his stubbornness, his unwavering loyalty. The boy who had grown into a man, who had always put Fen first, even when it cost him everything. And then a voice. Soft, weak, but undeniably Sabine's. "Fen, don't cry." The wolf froze. He looked down to see Sabine's lips moving, his gray eyes flickering faintly with life. "You always kept me smiling," Sabine whispered, his words barely audible. "I promise to do the same for you." Fen whimpered, nuzzling Sabine's face as tears streamed down his own. "I love you, Fen," Sabine murmured, his voice fading. "Always my pack." The hexademon blade watched in silence as the crimson forest seemed to hold its breath. Fen closed his eyes, a warm memory flashing in his mind. Sabine as a boy, laughing as he scratched Fen behind the ears, promising they'd always protect each other. The wolf smiled through his tears, whispering, "And I'll always love you." The forest grew still, the world holding its breath as the bond between a knight and his wolf shone brighter than the blood-red moon above. End of episode. Dang, dude! Yeah, that got real brutal. Saby got both his arms cut off. You guys ever seen this? Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
For no man.
So be it!
This is classic.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
I've heard worse.
You liar!
Come on, you pansy.
I've had worse.
Victory is mine. We thank thee, Lord, that in thy mercy...
Come on, then.
What?
How about you?
You are indeed brave, Sir Knight, but the fight is mine.
Oh, had enough, eh?
Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left.
Yes, I have.
Look!
It's just a flesh wound.
It's just a
Look,
flesh
stop that.
wound.
Chicken! Chicken!
Look, I'll have your leg. Right!
Right, I'll do you for that.
You what?
Come here.
What are you going to do, bleed on me?
I'm invincible.
You're a loony.
The Black Knight always triumphs. How about you? Come on, then. All right, we'll call it a draw.
Come, Patsy.
Oh, I see. Running away, eh? You yellow bastard! Come back here and take what's coming to you! I'll bite your legs off!
I'll bite your legs off! Yeah, so that's kind of what this reminded me of, except far more brutal, not as funny. Yeah. Leah said she's about to cry like a mop mess. Hopefully that could lighten the mood a little bit. Jeremiah said has 2 great sub nights. One working on right now, huh? A short horror story called Jeremiah's Playtime. Bree, that's from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which is like classic old British humor. A lot of inappropriate stuff in it, to be honest, but some pretty funny stuff if you've got that kind of sense of humor. Shall we continue? The ascension of Aquinas Orion, the divine Sigma of the North. The divine Sigma. The ascension of the Skibbity Rizzler, the divine Sigma of the North. Episode 8, The Blue Moon Rises. The Crimson Forest was silent. The towering hexademon blade, the Slayer of Moon, loomed over the broken forms of Sabine, Clayton, and Fenry Moon. The air was thick with malice, the demon's 6 burning eyes glowing with malevolent triumph as it raised its jagged claw to deliver the final blow. Sabine lay motionless, his body battered, his life slipping away with every drop of blood staining the ground. Fenry Moon, broken but unyielding, shielded his companion with his body, his golden eyes locked onto the demon with a mixture of fury and despair. Not like this, Fen whimpered softly. Please, not like this. As the claw descended, something stirred within the wolf. A pulse. Faint at first, then growing stronger, faster. Fen's body trembled, not with fear, but with something ancient, something divine. A blinding white explosion erupted from Fenry Moon's core, a shockwave of pure light that tore through the forest. The demon was hurled backward, its massive frame crashing into the trees as the ground beneath them quaked. The explosion illuminated the entire forest, the crimson hues replaced by a shimmering white glow. The oppressive darkness lifted as the skies above began to shift. The Divine Transformation. The ground beneath MuneRocks began to glow, intricate runes of gold forming a circle around him, pulsating with radiant energy. Slowly, the wolf rose from the ground, his massive frame suspended in the air. His 3 crimson tails writhed, their fiery hues fading as they transformed into brilliant white appendages, each adorned with a glowing halo. Golden markings etched themselves across his fur, forming intricate patterns that shimmered like sunlight on water. His once crimson fur became a dazzling white, flecked with divine particles that seemed to dance like stars across his body. The clouds above parted, revealing a moon unlike any seen before. No longer crimson, it shone a serene blue, its light cascading over the forest. The forest itself seemed to hold its breath, bowing in reverence to the transformation taking place within its heart. MuneRocks' eyes, once molten gold, now burned with a deep, godly blue, their radiance piercing through the darkness. Divine particles poured from them, swirling around his form like an ethereal aura. His presence was overwhelming, a fusion of majesty and power that seemed to transcend the mortal plane. As MuneRocks' transformation completed, he touched back down to the ground, his paws glowing with divine energy. The runic circle beneath him pulsed one final time before fading, leaving the forest bathed in the soft glow of his radiance. He was no longer MuneRocks. He was Aquinas Orion, the divine Sigma of the North, the enlightened guardian of life and balance. The Miracle. Aquinas Orion turned his gaze, divine gaze, to Sabine. The knight's broken body lay lifeless, his breast shallow, his face pale. A low, mournful whimper escaped Aquinas' lips as he stepped closer, lowering his massive form beside his companion. "Sabine," Aquinas whispered, his voice resonating with the celestial timbre, both powerful and tender. "You will not leave me, not yet." Lowering his head, Aquinas touched his nose to Sabine's chest. A soft hum filled the air as golden energy flowed from the wolf into the night, enveloping him in a cocoon of light. The divine energy seeped into Sabine's wounds, knitting torn flesh, mending shattered bones, and restoring his vitality. Sabine's body jerked slightly as he gasped for air, his emerald eyes fluttering open. "Fen?" he rasped, his voice weak. Aquinas smiled softly, his divine blue eyes shimmering. "Not Fen. Not anymore. I am Aquinas Orion now." Sabine's lips curved into a faint smile before his head fell back, exhaustion taking over as the healing continued. The fear of the Overlord. The towering hexademon, a creature forged in malice and chaos, stood trembling. Its 6 burning eyes darted wildly, scanning the clearing, but it could no longer ignore the suffocating presence behind it. The air itself seemed to freeze, heavy with the weight of something far beyond the demon's comprehension. Aquinas Orion stood still, his divine form glowing serenely, but there was a knowing smirk on his face. His deep, godly blue eyes gleamed with satisfaction, as if he already knew the fate of the trembling abomination before him. "You feel it, don't you?" Aquinas said softly, his voice laced with quiet confidence. "The weight of true power? The one presence in this world you cannot outrun?" The demon let out a guttural snarl, trying to muster its usual bravado, but its legs quivered and its claws twitched uncontrollably. The heat of its 6 eyes faltered as sweat dripped down its grotesque armored form. "Turn around," Aquinas murmured, tilting his head. "Face him, if you dare." The demon's breath hitched, its chest heaving as it hesitated. The oppressive aura pressed harder, darker, colder, until the demon could do nothing but obey. Slowly, hauntingly, it turned, and there he stood. CrimsonMune, the overlord of Crimson Land, loomed above the demon like a living nightmare. His towering form was clad in black and crimson armor, the veins of his armor pulsing faintly as if alive. His glowing red eyes burned with an intensity that could incinerate souls. His presence was a void, an abyss of authority so profound that it crushed the demon's will to even move. The demon whimpered, sound it had never made. "You dare," CrimsonMune said, his voice low and deliberate. each word like a hammer striking the demon's very essence. To defile my land, to harm what is mine. The demon tried to step back, but its legs buckled beneath the weight of the Overlord's gaze. Its clawed hands twitched as it reached for its broken blade, but quickly stopped, knowing it was futile. Do you think, CrimsonMune continued, his tone calm yet dripping with menace, that you are worthy to stand before me? You are nothing. Less than nothing. The demon's 6 eyes flickered, its breathing ragged. It tried to speak, to plea, but its voice cracked, and only a garbled sound escaped. I do not tolerate insects. CrimsonMune's words were final, absolute. You are no more than a pest to me. Brutal warning alert! Brutal warning alert! 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 Oh god. If the last one didn't get the alert and this is getting the alert now, how bad is this gonna be, dude? Whew, alright. We gotta gear ourselves up for this. Jeremiah said, bro, skip my content. You skip my chat. He missed the name. It's called Birthday Mayhem. Dude. It's Birthday Mayhem. It's the first short story. It's what it's called, dude. Wood said, oh, I missed all the Hexademon Blade stuff. How did Finn become Orion when he was Orion in the first story? Isn't this a sequel? Saby said, all questions will be answered, Rek. I think what he means is he forgot about that little problem, and so now he is currently working on finding a way to explain this. But no, Jeremiah, that's cool. Birthday Mayhem. I can only imagine what that's gonna entail. All right, here we go. The Overlord's Wrath. The Overlord raised his gauntleted hand, the air around him thickening as a crimson glow pulsed from his fingertips. The light twisted and churned, forming into tendrils of pure blood magic. The tendrils shot forward, coiling around the demon's 6 eyes. The demon howled in agony as the tendrils tightened, the burning energy flooding its vision. CrimsonMune's eyes narrowed, and with a simple flick of his wrist, the tendrils constricted violently. Pop! One by one, the demon's 6 eyes exploded in a cascade of blackened ichor and molten blood, the sound echoing through the forest like firecrackers. The demon thrashed and screamed, clawing at its face, but it was blind, helpless, and at the mercy of the Overlord. You will not see your end, CrimsonMune growled, stepping closer, his voice cutting through the demon's cries like a blade. But you will feel it. With another motion, CrimsonMune's gauntlet shimmered as razor-sharp spikes of crimson energy formed along his fingers. He drove his hand into the demon's chest, tearing through its armor with ease. The demon screamed again, writhing as the Overlord's hand twisted inside its body. You thought yourself a predator, CrimsonMune said, his tone chillingly calm, but you are prey. With a brutal yank, CrimsonMune tore a chunk of the demon's flesh free, tossing it to the ground like discarded waste. The demon crumpled, its once mighty form now reduced to a sobbing, bleeding heap. But CrimsonMune was not done. He gripped the demon's arm next, his fingers sinking into its flesh like claws. With a slow, deliberate motion, he began pulling. The demon's howls grew louder, echoing into the night as its arm was torn from its socket, blood spraying in every direction. You will beg for the end, CrimsonMune said, his voice a terrifying whisper. But it will not come quickly. The Overlord moved methodically, tearing the demon apart piece by piece. First its other arm, then its leg, each motion slow and agonizing, as though he wanted the demon to feel every moment of its demise. The forest floor was drenched in blackened blood, the air thick with the stench of death. Finally, as the demon's mutilated body lay twitching on the ground, CrimsonMune stood over it, his crimson eyes flaring brighter than ever. Your existence ends here, he declared. You were nothing but a mistake, and now You are nothing at all. With one final motion, CrimsonMune raised his gauntlet high, the crimson energy coalescing into a blade of pure destruction. He brought it down with unrelenting force, cleaving the demon's body in two. The ground beneath them split from the impact, sending a shockwave through the forest. As the demon's remains disintegrated into ash, the Overlord turned his glowing red eyes, locking onto Aquinas Orion, who stood silently, his divine form radiating calm amidst the carnage. CrimsonMune stepped forward, his voice low and commanding. Are you satisfied, Aquinas? Or shall I erase its name from existence as well? Aquinas smirked faintly, bowing his head in acknowledgement. You've done enough, my lord. The land is safe once more. The forest fell silent, the last traces of the demon's presence fading into nothingness. The Overlord's towering form loomed in the moonlight, a living embodiment of terror, power, and judgment. And the blue moon above shone brighter, its serene glow a reminder of the balance that had been restored. Wood said Mortal Kombat type stuff. Saby confirmed that that's where he got some of the inspiration, huh? The aftermath of divinity. The Crimson Forest, once a battlefield soaked in blood and fear, was now bathed in the tranquil glow of the blue moon. The air was still, save for the gentle rustling of trees swaying in reverence to the divine presence of Aquinas Orion, the newly ascended Sigma of the North. CrimsonMune, the Overlord, stood silently, his towering form a stark contrast to the serenity around him. This doesn't match the vibe. CrimsonMune. Oh wait, I already read that. Yet something softened in his gaze, something rare, as his attention turned to the figures before him. On the ground, Sabine Clayton, now fully healed, was nestled against Aquinas. The knight clung to the divine wolf like a child to their most cherished champion, his hands buried in Aquinas' snow-white fur. Aquinas, for all his godly might, looked utterly exasperated. Saby, Aquinas muttered, his deep, celestial voice carrying a hint of annoyance. Enough, I'm not a pup. But Sabine ignored him completely, his face glowing with joy as he nuzzled against the wolf's side. So soft now, like a giant fluffy cloud, he said, his voice giddy with childlike enthusiasm. Aquinas sighed, his three haloed tail swishing in irritation. I just ascended to a divine form, Sabine, a transformation that reshaped the heavens themselves, and yet this is what you focus on? Of course, Sabine replied with a grin, scratching behind one of Aquinas' ears. You're still my Fen, and Fen is the best, fluffiest wolf ever. From a distance, CrimsonMune watched the pair with quiet amusement. The rare sight of unguarded joy and innocence seemed to momentarily lift the eternal weight of his existence. Whoops. They act as children, the Overlord murmured to himself, his deep voice tinged with a rare warmth. Pure, untouched by the burdens of power, pride. Such purity. It's why they endure. For once, the Overlord did not command or interfere. He turned his crimson cloak flowing like liquid fire as he began his silent retreat to Vermilion Keep. The forest fell silent again, leaving only Sabine and Aquinas beneath the blue moon's glow. A conversation of hearts. Aquinas finally managed to disentangle himself from Sabine's relentless cuddling. He stood tall, his divine form glowing faintly in the moonlight, his three tails swaying with elegance. Sabine sat cross-legged on the ground, looking up at him with unabashed admiration. He didn't say anything about my transformation, Aquinas said after a moment, his voice calm but curious. Sabine tilted his head. What's there to say? Aquinas' divine blue eyes narrowed slightly. What's there to say? Sabine, I became a legend tonight, a divine being, a god among wolves. He gestured to his glowing form, the golden engraving shimmering across his fur. And yet, all you've done is talk about how fluffy I am. Sabine grinned sheepishly. Well, yeah, you're Fen, my Fen. And no matter how many halos you grow or how shiny you get, that's all I need to know. Aquinas froze, the weight of Sabine's words settling over him. Sabine stood, his emerald eyes earnest as he stepped closer. You could become a god, a myth, 1,000 legends all rolled into one. But to me, you'll always be Fen, the wolf who's been with me through everything, the one who saved my life, who's always been my family. Aquinas lowered his head, his heart swelling with emotion. Sabine wrapped his arms around the wolf's neck, hugging him tightly. I'm sorry, he whispered, his voice cracking. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. You've always been there for me, and I couldn't do the same for you. Aquinas closed his eyes, leaning into the embrace. The divine particle shimmering around him seemed to dim slightly, as if his form was grounding itself to the moment. Latrice Woods, good night. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Sleep well. We'll be back streaming on Wednesday night. We'll probably do like a shorter stream of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I'm thinking, but we'll see. But have a great night. Thank you for joining the stream. Really appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed it. You have nothing to apologize for, Aquinas said softly, his voice trembling with rare vulnerability. You've already done more for me than you know. You gave me a purpose, a reason to be more than what I was. And even now, even after everything, you still see me as me. Sabine pulled back slightly, tears glistening in his eyes. Of course I do. You're my Fen. You always will be. Aquinas smiled faintly, a deep, rumbling chuckle escaping him. You hopeless idiot. You know that? Maybe, Sabine said with a laugh, wiping his eyes. But I'm your hopeless human companion. The wolf's divine blue eyes shimmered with emotion as he lowered his head, pressing his nose gently to Sabine's forehead. I'm perfectly happy with this. The two stayed like that, the bond between them stronger than ever, as the blue moon watched over them, its serene light a testament to the purity of their connection. End of episode. For now, stay tuned for more episodes as the lazy author will think of something, anything in future. Gosh, he's lazy. Woo! Thank you so much, Saby, for sharing this wonderful... this wonderful new series. I definitely appreciate that it was a nice bite-sized, stream-sized chunk that we could actually read in one evening. Very nice, very nice. Crimson Knights, love to hear your thoughts, reactions, hopes, dreams, expectations in the chat. Saby, were you wanting to do another voice chat, or what were you thinking? All right, let's bring Saby into the chat. Here he is. Saby, congratulations on many episodes of a new series. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Crimson. I'm delighted to hear that you enjoyed it, and including the community as well. We're waiting for the story to come again after a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah, some of the reactions we've got in chat here. Leah said, what a wonderful, amazing, gut-wrenching, wonderful story. She said wonderful twice. That's how wonderful it is.
Oh, thank you so much, my sweet Leah. I'm delighted to hear that you enjoyed my story.
She said, well done, buddy. Job well done, Saby. Bree said, that kind of made me think of certain fantasy books that I've read, and honestly, I got hooked on books like that. Bree, I'm curious, what books did it remind you of? I'm also always looking for good book recommendations. I love the fantasies, you know? So yeah, Saby.
Oh.
Excellent job, man. So how did I do with the reading? Did I do it any justice? Did I do better than a 2 out of 10?
Yeah, you did perfectly well, Crimson. No doubt about it.
I just wanted to do better than Dot Rec, aka Woods, was saying. You know, I needed to do a better job than that.
Oh, he said 2 out of 10, right? So I think he forgot to put 2 other zeros. That means 200 out of 10.
There you go. See that? See that, Woods? What are you talking about, bruh? No, it was good. That was fun. I enjoyed reading it. CrimsonMune is pretty brutal, though. He's a brutal character. Not as brutal as Hexademon Blade, it seems, but he's pretty brutal. Dude, I can't believe that you wrote in having both of your arms get chopped off and then getting, like, stabbed in your shoulder.
That's one of the
crazy.
brutalities of the war.
That was kind of crazy, dude.
Yep. And so, after reading this series, Crimson, what are your thoughts, and what sections do you love the most, and think that there should be more to the section?
What do I love the most? Which section do I love the most? My favorite section that comes to mind, honestly, is the training section where Sabine was being trained. I thought that was pretty well written, funny, had a lot of good roasts in it. So I like that section a lot.
Good thing yesterday's efforts took it well.
That's right. There you go. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like you need to add more to a section. It'd just be interesting to know, like, what happens next, you know, writing the next episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, excuse me. I definitely enjoyed it. Like I said, it felt like the fight scenes were pretty brutal, and it opened pretty brutal. You had CrimsonMune like crush somebody's head. So obviously, I mean, I don't know where you're going with the story, but right now it feels like, wow, like CrimsonMune really is like a brutal dictator. He just like absolutely destroys and makes people suffer if they don't follow him or do what he says. So, you know, hopefully that's not reflective of what I am actually like. Saby's like, wow, CrimsonMune is a big jerk, and he just crushes our faces.
Now, there's a deeper and very interesting story about CrimsonMune, the Overlord, and the story will be revealed in future episode on why he's so brutal, he's so crushing, he doesn't tolerate failure, and those kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's scary though. That's for sure. Leah said fight scenes were definitely brutal. Definitely brutal.
What do you think? Is the fight scenes like okay type, or should I tone down a bit?
The fight scenes specifically?
Yeah. I mean, in future there will be not too much of this brutality, like stabbings, slashing, those kind of stuff, but not too many brutal. So what do you think? Should there be any other brutal scenes like those, or should I tone it down, like simple?
I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, it felt like, it just, I guess it was like, wow, it really went from like, everything's fine to suddenly you have no arms, like, pretty quickly. So that was just kind of jarring, I guess. But no, I mean, overall, I felt like, all right, like, war fighting is brutal. So I'm fine with that. Personally.
Yeah. And in the brutality, I tried to show that in war there is no forgiveness. That kind of sense.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at first I was like, wow, like he just killed off two big characters. He killed off Saby and Fenrine. So I was like, wow, like I can't believe he already killed those characters off and they're gone. What's he gonna do with the rest of the story? I was not thinking that you were gonna be able to like bring them back from the dead, basically. You know what I mean? Like heal them back from being absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, there's a deeper story about what happened on being Fenrir Moon and Aquanis, why they are together and those stuff. Basically, they are same beings. But why Fenrir Moon? Why Crimson? All thanks to the Overlord.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Crimson, I can debrief you in story on what happened to Aquanis Orion from my previous story and why he became Fenrir Moon in the latest one. If you want,
you came up with something, huh?
Nope, it's the official story. I already came up with it. So the thing happened in the previous story is that Aquanis Orion was captured by the Dark Overlord in my previous story, and Hexademon Blade himself corrupted his powers. So emotionally, Aquanis Orion is related to Saby. So emotionally, he corrupted his mind and emotions into his own grasp, and then Fenrir Moon has born with his own powers and own fatality until the real Crimson Overlord came, and as you know, he defeated them all, and finally he claimed Fenrir Moon, but the Dark Overlord has escaped. So what he will do will be uncovered in the future episode, and then from now on,
Dark
Fenrir Moon, and Fenrir Moon, which was Aquanis Orion, was deeply trapped in the new form, which was Fenrir Moon, until Saby came back to bring on Aquanis Orion from the past.
Okay.
So this is the story.
That's the origin story.
Yeah, and why Fenrir Moon submitted towards Crimson Moon as the real Overlord, because as you have seen, his presence, his aura, his authority, there was no chance that Fenrir Moon would have went against him. So his whole existence submitted against him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Welcome, John Cena. How's it going? We just finished reading through Saby's new series thus far. And now we have Saby in Discord, just talking with him, breaking it down, hearing more about this new series that we just read through.
Heyo. So yeah, Crimson, is there anything you would like to add, or any character or anything towards yourself and your character in the story?
I mean, I'd like if my character was like, you know, actually nice at some point. Good.
I already did a scene, you know, at the end of the episode. where I showed Crimson Moon's softness towards Saby and Funnis. This is the teaser type of way of his character.
Okay. But no, I mean, you know, I think definitely looking forward to having some other Crimson Knights be in it. So would love to see like Leah. Who are we missing? Like Leah, John Cena. I don't think Jeremiah or Woods were in there. Latrice.
No, Jeremiah, Woods, Latrice, they have to come. Therefore, future episodes. They will be revealed in future episodes along with John Cena and others. My sweet Leah as well.
When you make John Cena's character, will you introduce him with, and his name is John Cena? Because you pretty much have to do that.
Or I can introduce him as invisible.
Invisible?
You cannot see John Cena. His character will be here very soon as well, and his name will be through it. Like I will do it in my own creativity from John Cena to something, you know.
Well, yeah. So it'll be fun to see other other Crimson Knights in the series for sure.
Yeah, be happy to add them in there for future episodes.
Crimson Knights, what are some of your other thoughts, reactions, questions, anything for Saby that we need to discuss while we've got him on here? Leah said, Crimson's right about that. It was absolutely jaw-dropping, especially when you lost arms like that. Oh, by the way, Saby, what did you think of the Monty Python scene that I shared?
That was absolutely hilarious. I did not expect that one of the scenes that I wrote was this. I never expected that.
What are the odds that I knew of a clip perfect for that, huh?
Yeah. I was like, when you were showing it, I was like, what Crimson is showing? Then it hit me. Oh my gosh. That it matches right into my scene.
Yeah. A little more, that scene was a little bit more funny than, your scene though, so.
It's like the opposite type I did.
Also,
Brutal
going
and
back,
dark.
Bree shared the series that she was thinking of. She said, one of the books I've been reading is actually a series. 3 books. The first book is called A Tale of Magic. Bree, would you recommend it? Would you recommend that? Let me look it up.
A Tale of Magic, huh? That's interesting. I'll have to look that book up.
Tale of Magic. By Chris Colfer. Books for young readers. So it looks like it's kind of a fantasy series for maybe like teenagers. Kind of geared towards teens. Never heard of it. The series that I'm reading is the Stormlight Archives, and each book is massive. You guys voted that there should be the next, that I continue with the Stormlight Archives before I continue with Mistborn, so we're gonna do Stormlight Archives. but the middle book right here, Words of Radiance, I mean, it literally looks like it's like maybe 1,300 pages, something. It's pretty long.
That's a lot. 1,300. Wow.
Yeah, the first one, The Way of Kings, I finally finished. 1,250 pages, man.
Wow.
It took me... Now, I don't read that much. I'll read, like, you know, a handful of pages every few nights before bed. But at that pace, it took me, like, literally a year to finish. So, I need to read a little bit more.
Yeah, if you want to read a little bit more, why not read my series?
I want to read your series, but I also want to read, you know, some other people's series, too.
Perfect. Keep it balanced, just like Thanos said.
So yeah, is there anything else that you're hoping to discuss or wanted to share, Saby?
If there is anything, I would say for now it's a work in progress, and stay tuned for future episodes. And will not revealing too much since it will be a heavy spoiler for future episodes. So I'll keep it at that.
Okay.
What about you, Crimson? Is there anything you would like to share? Share your feedback and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, again, overall, I think it was a good series. I know that .rec was saying that, you know, there are certain words that you use a lot or like repeat a lot. I actually felt like that was definitely true in the original Crimson Knights Legacy series. I didn't feel like that was as true of this series, though. This felt like your words were more varied, you know? So that's how I felt. I felt like you got better at varying your words and, you know, keeping the narrative moving, I guess. So, but yeah, I think you're doing a great job, and the reboot immediately engaged a bunch of Crimson Knights as characters, so I think everybody was really excited about that. And you got in... I mean, you were saying, like, it's not going to get into as much action because we're kind of ramping up, but I felt like it got into a lot of action pretty quickly, so... Yeah.
There will be more actions to come. Actually, one of the actions I can tease is that imagine riding a colossal dragon and fighting on top of it, while the other dragons assisting you while using flamethrower and other stuff through their breath. That kind of scene.
Yeah, that is gonna be crazy then. Reading scenes like that, dude. Well,
Yeah.
we definitely look forward to it.
All right. In also future episodes, there will be references from other TV shows and video games as well. So if you get them right, you're incredible. Actually, one episode I can tease is that one episode will be heavily inspired by one of the famous scene or episode from Game of the Thrones TV series.
Oh, really? Did you
Yeah.
watch Game of Thrones?
Hmm?
Like, did you watch Game of Thrones, or just, like, stuff that you've heard about?
No, I heard about, and some of them watched through YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
And through the YouTube Shorts, yep.
Next season. Now you're making me wonder. Okay, the next season of The Last of Us is coming out on HBO in April. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. That was a great series. Yeah, I saw some references in there. I think we caught some references. There were some Pokemon references, some Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
Maybe Dark Deception might have been in there. I can't remember if there were others that I noticed.
All of them were in my series through the recent events. The Vermilion Keep I put from Pokemon Season 1 Kanto region. That name came from Vermilion Gym.
Right. Leah said, does anybody know anything about Digimon Digital Monsters?
Digimon Digital Monster. Oh, that is a game. There's an anime TV series as well for kids.
Yeah, I mean, I know
It's a
of
video
it, but I never watched it. So I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, I watched it, but it's not that good. It's mostly for TV kids series, but it's not that good.
You don't like it that much?
Yeah, it's kind of feel like underwhelming kind of thing.
Fair enough. Saby, I can't remember, were you saying that there was something you were wanting me to react to or look at as well tonight?
Yeah, but it's up to you, Crimson. Will you be able to react to it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've got a little bit of time here if you want me to look at something.
Alright, Crimson. Thank you very much for your incredible reaction. I'll share it in the... Where is it? Reaction clips. There, I shared it in reaction clips to check them out.
All right. Let's look at this. Oh, it's 3 things. 4 things. Okay. Our Crimson Knights, we're also going to react to some things that Saby shared with us. Of course, a Serious Sam Fusion clip we're watching. You were saying that, like, some of these levels have, like, puzzles and progression and stuff like that, but all I ever see is you just running around shooting everything that moves. We'll tell them to stop. I saw somebody who, for their Christmas tree topper, had an Eye of Sauron that they put on top of their Christmas tree instead of a star. I was like, it's kind of sacrilegious, like kind of messed up a little bit, but also hilarious. All right, so that's clip 1. Here's clip 2, Crimson Knights. Another serious Sam Fusion clip. This is the same level? It looks completely different. Definitely something satisfying about these kind of games where you're just mowing down enemies. What made you choose these clips to share? Okay. All right. Now we've got clip number 3, Black Mesa. This looks like it's somehow related to Half-Life. This definitely get me excited to play some Doom Dark Ages. I'm gonna be interested to see when that game actually releases. Yeah. I was like, is this mine or yours? My end or your end? Yeah. All right. And then the last clip, another Black Mesa clip. Definitely some interesting landscapes there. Oh, look, that looks like the Eye of Sauron right there. Flying mantises. Or, sorry, flying manta rays. Breathtaking. Tungachi just whipped out a shotgun, looked up, boom. You're dead. Nice. Thanks for sharing, Saby. Of course. Leah said she's still here, just lurking around.
Nice.
Very cool.
Thank you,
Well,
Zoom.
Saby, how long
And,
do you think it'll take you to write the next set of episodes for us to read?
Well, I think it will be 1 or 2 months.
That's not too bad. That's
The
pretty
next
quickly.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see how many times do I have remaining in the stock. Okay. So next sub-night will be like 3 months later. I have still 75 days left for next sub-night.
Gotcha. Bree said, still here, just doing a Lego set. Which set did you go with, Bree?
Lego set. Sweet memories of my fingers getting hurt.
Went with the Lego Wednesday set. Okay. Well, that's fun. Awesome. All right, Saby, well, hope you enjoyed the sub night. Thank you so much for redeeming the stream and for writing this awesome series. Appreciate it, man. I think we all really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And I'm delighted to hear that the community and especially the host enjoyed my series with the positive feedback.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, cannot wait for future episodes and the other Crimson Knights to appear in the series and to uncover many deep secrets and stories along the way.
Very cool. Well, thanks again for sharing, Saby. I think, you know, we'll probably close out the stream from here. Unless you have any final words that you want to say.
I think I said what I wanted to say.
Okay.
There's no.
Well, Leah said, awesome stream tonight. Job well done, Saby. I agree. Thank you so much, Saby. Excellent job. Keep up the great work. Thank you for everything you do to help build the Crimson Knight community. And, you know, it's really fun for us to read fan fiction about our little community here. It's really cool. I never imagined when I started streaming all those years ago that we'd be at the point where we have such a great Crimson Knight community, that we'd have people literally writing fan fiction about our community. It's mind-boggling, but it's awesome. So thank you so much, Saby, for putting in all that work, letting us all enjoy it, and you know, benefit from it as a community.
Thank you, Crimson, to you and to all the Crimson Knights. Thank you very much for your unwavering and incredible support throughout the years. And with this, I will say the series is alive because of your incredible support. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any series for me to like read or write.
Those are great words, Saby. Thank you.
Thank you, Crimson, and thank you to the amazing community.
Awesome. Well, Saby, Crimson Knights, have an excellent rest of your day or night wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for liking the video and being subscribed, joined, followed on the channel. Special shout out to Leah Hyde for 13 months as a Crimson member on the channel, and for the big voice reveal tonight. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to Leah. Thank you so much, Leah, for the incredible support. Thank you to all the members as well who help support the channel on YouTube and on Twitch. As I mentioned before, I will be back on Wednesday night. We'll do a short little stream, Final Fantasy, and then on Thursday, we're going to be doing Angel's Fortnite sub night. So we'll be doing that on Thursday night. I will not have a stream on Friday because I have a work thing that I need to do that evening, but we'll do Thursday instead. So that's the plan for the week ahead. Thank you so much for joining Crimson Knights. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And good night to you as well.
Thank you, Crimson.
Good day to you as well,
And
Saby.
you as well. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
And have a great night as well. Take care, Crimson. See you.
All right. Talk to you later, Saby. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Crimson Knights. Thanks so much again. I'll talk to you again on Wednesday.